Trug, and we're here to explore metaphysical and holistic concepts. Tonight we have a special feature. We have a pre-recorded lecture with Gershon Winkler, a rabbi from New Mexico who comes up for the holy days. And it will be very interesting. His lecture is on ancient Hebrew astrology, and it says his research led to a lunar 13-month astrological system, which he recorded on a wheel. And this wheel illustrates for the individual, based on hour and date of birth, several key functions: animal, element, totem, tribe, stone, house, and chant. Pretty much all the modalities there. So this should be very interesting, and I hope you enjoy it. I wanted to get through a little bit of business before we go on to the lecture. First of all, the Western astrology for the week. We still have the Sun in Gemini, and it's conjunct Venus, and it's trining. That's a 120-degree aspect Uranus, and the conjunction means they're together. There's a 0-degree aspect between the Sun and Venus. And this is, we might run into old friends. We might feel especially friendly, and just bursts of friendliness. Also, there's a certain fickleness. Venus can be very fickle. So on again, off again feelings unexpectedly. You may have been all excited to do something for a number of days or weeks, and when the event arrives, you're not as interested in it. Things like that. And still, we have lots and lots of choices, lots of doors opening up, almost so quickly that we hardly have time to really sit and think about what we're choosing. But what we've put into motion in the past few months before this time are helping us choose. So hopefully we laid a lot of good groundwork for our choices now. And we still have the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction in Taurus. And this is it's a whole generational thing. This will sort of lay the groundwork for the next 20 years as to what our focus is. And what the focus will be, again, is environmentalism and taking care of the planet and reconnecting with our roots, our traditions, and just the fact that we're made up of the earth and reconnecting with that. It should be a very exciting week. Again, lots of Gemini energy. Venus and Mars are still both in there with the Sun. And by the end of the week, we should be having lots of fun with the moon going into Sagittarius, I believe on Thursday. And I wanted to thank Rainbow's End for the beautiful dress I'm wearing tonight. They're at 113 West Main Street in Missoula. And I wanted to mention the Montana Festival featuring natural health and holistic arts. If we could get a close-up on the poster here. This is an Oasis Star Haven production, and this will be happening next Saturday, June 17th, from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. And lots of good musical guests and features. It should be a lot of fun, and of course it's free to get into, so enjoy that. Next week we're really excited. We'll have our website up, and we'll be having the weekly astrology on there from now on, and obviously that's free to get onto. The astrology is free, and we'll be announcing that next week. If anyone would like to do anything with MCAT, any video projects, their number is 542-6228. That's 542-MCAT. If anyone would like to contact me or anyone else on the crew for the show, the number is 829-9162, and my email is htruog, that's T-R-U-O-G, @yahoo.com. And there are some feelers going out in the metaphysical community. Is anybody interested in helping form an intentional community along the lines of Findhorn in Scotland? And if you have any ideas for that or any interest, please also give us a call at 829-9162. And for Gershon, if anyone would like to contact him, again, this is a wonderful lecture coming up. His website is www.walkingstick.org, and you can email him through that site. And I think we're just about ready to see him. So enjoy the lecture. And thank you very much, Gershon, and we'll see you all next week with another interview show. Blessed be.
You have some of the oral traditions that date even farther back than 2,400 years. This is like a compilation, a redaction, as they call it, of very ancient oral mystical traditions of the Jewish people. Well, that's it for tonight. I just promised an introduction, and we have it. Wish y'all a really good night, and later.
Can we get a couple more racks of those in here?
Yeah, we have more chairs in here. A couple of tables. So, in this book appears a chart, something like this, that I made it very big so I could read it, and translate some of the stuff for my own sake, so that I don't have to like waste your time trying to decipher. This is a wheel,
Against the wall.
and this wheel has 13 moons, because it's based on the Aboriginal tribe of my peoples, who were 12 boys and 1 guy. 12 boys and 1 girl who was born to Big Daddy Jack, Jacob, our ancestor, and his 2 wives and their sister companions. That's 4 women altogether. It was a wild time back then. It makes the sexual revolution look like a real prudent time. Went on back then. It was a really good time. People had a lot of fun. So, everybody has a month, and I'm going to invite you, after I give you a little bit of introduction about the ancient teachings in the book, about the stars. And basically, it goes like this. And the reason why we go by the moon is because the moon, for us, reflects more of real-life human situation. It's great, it's wonderful, it's lousy, it sucks. Right? That's the moon. Starts real small, builds up, reaches a crescendo, and goes. I got my job. I love it. It's great. Oh, people are wonderful. I love what I'm doing. I hate what I'm doing. I'm saying this job. I want a job. Right? That's the moon. The moon is a real life situation. I feel great. I'm happy. Nothing is broken. Oh, darn, I turned that arm wrong. Back to the chiropractor. All of life is like that. Waxing and waning. Waxing, waning. Up and down. Right, left and left. So this is the moon. The moon is really good. And the moon is also reflecting. It does not like have its own light source. It is reflecting a source of light that comes from beyond it, which is what the creatures of the earth do. All the creatures of the earth, from the hoity-toity human being to the little tiny sweet little mosquito, all of them, or in Hebrew is called Yetush. The Talmud says, the ancient oral tradition says that every person should say, because of me alone would the entire universe have been worth creating. If that gets to your head, the rabbis continued, then remember, Yetush Kidducha, the mosquito preceded you in the order of creation. Great teaching. So we always carry one teaching in this pocket and a teaching in this pocket. If you feel real lousy about yourself, you pull out the one. And if you feel really good about yourself, you pull out the other. Keep kind of keeping the legs, this little balance. So everything here in the world, all creatures of this earth, this planet, reflect to each other a light, a partsuf in Aramaic, which means like an image of the other. So we are deriving our light source from each other. So we're like the moon. Every creature on this planet is like the moon, mirroring its selfhood by being in relationship with others. Whether it's a good relationship or a bad relationship, or between a horse and a donkey, or a dog and a human, it doesn't matter. We're all related. Walking by a tree, you and the tree and that woman are mirroring something about each other that comes from beyond both of you. And that is visible and understandable to neither of you until you get into a relationship. That's why the great Rabbi, who died about 60 years ago, Martin Buber, in his great classic book called I, Thou, he writes about that, right? He says you can have a relationship with a person or a thing or an animal with an I-it consciousness. That's just, everybody is a figment of my imagination. I-it. You know, me and the podium, but the podium is just an it. Or you can have an I-thou relationship, which is you are really aware of the other otherness in relationship to yourself, so that other people in your life do not become an extension of your reality, but rather becomes an other with which to relate. So when you stand with the tree, or you sit with the rock, you try this experiment. If it doesn't work, please don't come to me. It's my fault, no responsibility. You sit with a rock or you stand by a tree, and you I it out with I and you, as opposed to I and it, leaning against it, and it is nothing but an extension of your reality, your needs, your wants in that moment. And I and this tree is aware of me, being aware of it, being aware of me. Very mind-boggling. Many people have died as a result of trying to think about it. That's why our religion is so old, 5,000 years old, because, well, 5,760 years old, because, you know, we thought too much. So you get very, very old that way. The heater went on. Okay. Now I can freeze. I always said Montana's a cool place. You going up north? Yes, sir, I am. Better bring with yourself some long underwear, like really, really long. It's the summertime. It's not going to be cool up there. You'll be silly. Actually, where I live, it's colder than Montana in the winter. I mean, colder than Missoula. Not the rest of Montana. Not like California. There's 7,000 feet. There's 7,000 feet between me and the earth. Very cold winters. And most of the winter in the airport of New Mexico sounds like this. All springy. Why don't we go down to Albuquerque a little bit, get warmed up? But that has nothing to do with this topic. Just Jewish tradition to get off the tangent. So we can be a much older religion than we already are. No? So reflection, we're reflecting. Okay, so here, I'll give you a little secret. So that's why we go by the moon. The moon is very sacred to us. In fact, the moon is called the month. In the Hebrew language is called Chodesh and Yoreach, 2 words for it. Chodesh means new, like renewal. And Yoreach means the moon. One of the words for moon. There are 2 words for the moon in the Hebrew language. One is Levana, which means the white one. And the second word is a feminine word, like Lavan is white for a man. Like a white man we call a Lavan. A white woman or a white donkey or sheep or anything would be called Levana if it was feminine. Okay. Anything feminine would be Levana if it was white. Anything masculine would be Lavan. So the moon is called Levana, which is a feminine. And she's always referred to as the feminine. Every moon, if you go to a very Orthodox, traditional Jewish community, the Saturday night, after the first sliver of the moon, you will see everybody getting out of the synagogue and standing outside in the dark while the cars are passing by in New York City or wherever they are, and they're praying to the moon. And they're praying and honoring the moon and saying prayers, thanking the Creator for the gift of the moon, and swaying back and forth like they always do, which is something we learned from many years of having to survive persecution. So we're here. This is my personal theory. Please don't tell this to your back home. I mean, you could, but just don't mention my name. So they're out there praying, and then at some point in the prayer, in the prayer for the moon, they begin to jump up toward the moon. This is really wild. No one knows this except people who live in big cities, in areas where the Orthodox Jewish people live, who still practice. Actually, I'm not Orthodox, but I practice it too. But I live in a place where there's nobody else does. So nobody knows what I'm not doing. Not even God can see what I'm doing. There's many trees in the way. So what they do is they're jumping up and down. You know, up toward the moon. Up toward. Today we don't have to do that. We can just take a plane or these rocket ships to NASA. That's why they built these things in NASA. A lot of Jewish scientists got involved. Tired of that 5,000 years of Jews jumping up and down. They're really silly to the other nations. Probably one of the reasons we got so persecuted. You know, yeah, jumping again. Making a ruckus, right? So we developed all these things in Nassau to just go to the moon already, get off, land on the moon, you don't have to jump. There already. Mel Brooks promised to give us a movie called Jews in Space. Never delivered. So far it's not delivered. But it's a good promise. It's a very, very good idea. Hopefully it'll be done one day. This will be a sequel to his History of the World, Part 1. Which I hope, if you did not see it yet, please go out to rent it tonight. One at a time. I don't think they have that many copies. One tonight, next night, you know, you can take numbers and work that out between yourselves. So we jump up toward the moon. And the prayer is that I jump up to you, O moon, O Levana, and just as I can jump up toward you but cannot grasp you, likewise, may anything that is negative in the moon to come, the month to come, you know, never reach me. And it's based on a very old ritual where they didn't say things like that, but they just jumped up to the moon because there's this yearning to go up to the moon. You know, when I was studying in Israel, when I was a normal rabbi studying in Israel many years ago, I had a study mate that we studied with study mates. You argue back and forth over the text, you know, back and forth. Oh, God. I get it now, you do? I got it, too. Why? So, there was a man named Yitzhak Levin, and he told me this with great sincerity. He said, you know what will happen if you stare, don't try this at home. Please, if you stand still and stare at the moon when it's full for a half an hour straight, you're going to walk up a wall that night. And he really believes this. He says he's experienced this. I know some of you are smirking and wondering, this guy was a crazy man. The truth is he was. He still is. But I've been afraid to try it. If any of you want to, let me know. I'm glad to hear about it. But there's a lot of legends, a lot of stories. Actually, it's not just something he made up. But he showed me this in a book, in an old Kabbalistic book called Sefer HaRazim, which means the Book of Mysteries, where it says, beware, if thou lookest upon the mooneth for more than 30 minutes, thou shalt walk up the wall. Thou shalt continue to walk it upside down. Maybe that's how the term lunar takes. I'm not sure. Just a proposition. I mean, I don't want a proposition, but I'm just kind of putting it out. Positing is a better word. So you see, you know, there are a lot of legends and stories about the moon in the Jewish mystical tradition because there's a very ancient belief. Hi, morning. Nice. Very ancient belief. This is the back of the guy standing over there is the guy talking. I'm just the children. So, because the moon has to us great mystery power. Great power. I mean, look at the moon. You know, you see the face. The Talmud tells us, which is a more rational, legalistic, ancient tradition of our people, tells us that if you look at the moon, you will see the face of Joshua, the great prophet and general and warmonger Joshua. Joshua, it says, the face of Moses, the face of Moses was like the face of the sun. Oh, God, he's up, right? Because that's how the people felt every time he came out of the tent with a new commandment. God, here it comes again. All right, what can't we do? So the face of Moses, like the face of the sun, you can't grasp him, it's too powerful. And the face of Joshua, who was his disciple, is like the face of the moon, right? So here again you have the concept of the moon being a reflection of the sun. Joshua being reflection of his teacher, Moses, or in Hebrew, Moshe, or in Hollywood, Charlton Heston. Now, and then finally, I mean not finally, but I say that better. You think it's almost over? I had a teacher like that. Everything, every single moment he would say, I just, one more thing to tell you. On. Wow, we hated it. But we always believed him. And it would indeed be just one more thing. And it was another hour and a half. So I picked it up a lot. And some of you who are veterans of torture have already learned. But there's one more thing before I tell you the other, which is that the beautiful teaching in the Zohar. The Zohar is also a collection of ancient mystical oral teachings. Because most of our teachings were oral until like the 4th century. They were finally redacted and written down because we were getting scattered all over the world. So they wrote everything down. But until then, we were an oral tradition people. All we had written down was our scriptures. The story of Noah, the flood, Abraham and his tent, and everybody and their wives. Moses going up and down that mountain, all people wandering 40 years through the desert trying to get to a place that was only an hour away by bus. That's our story of writing written there. That's all. The rest was oral tradition. Because who could write anything better than that? So they didn't. So there's a beautiful oral tradition in our mystical tradition. It goes like this. When you look up at, not tonight, because it's overcast. Some of you might look up tonight and see a shooting star. That's Delta Airlines flight number 1620. Arriving. Okay, so there's a teaching like this. In the beginning, according to our people's creation story, there was a light that was not the light of the sun, or the moon, and the stars, because the sun and the moon and the stars and the planets were not created, it says in that story, until the 4th cycle. It wasn't until Wednesday, or in our reckoning, Tuesday night, because we start every day the night before. So Tuesday night, which is actually Wednesday, is when the planets were created in the story. So in the very beginning of the book of Genesis, or in Hebrew, the book of Bereshit, in the book of Bereshit starts out that the universe was void, chaotic, desolate, crazy, dark, unbelievable. It was a mess. And then the Ruach Elohim and the Spiritus, and the spirit of goddess, I don't know how to say it in English, because the Hebrew, it says, in the spirit of Elohim, which means source of powers, not God, I don't know what God means, but the Hebrew is Elohim, means source of powers. And the source of powers, it says, hovered over the waters. But in the Hebrew, where they have gender language, different language for different genders, it doesn't say hovered in the masculine gender, it says hovered in the feminine gender. It says in the spirit of Elohim, hovered says over the waters. So the creator power is described in the mystical tradition that picks up on this Hebrew wording in the scripture as the feminine. And it's called Ema Shel Maila, which means the mother of the above. So the mother of the above, which is Elohim, translated in English as God, is like the creating attribute of that which is beyond creator. Because we don't believe God is creator, we believe that creator is a part of God. That creator is just a little moonlighting of God. God has a bigger job, Wall Street. That, creating the world was like a hobby, like in the studio. And here we are, schleppers running around in the studio of God. Hey, what is it going to do next? Living, we're dying, we're living, we're dying. What is it? A big joke? You think it's funny? Not even listening. See? So creator spirit, which is that attribute of the infinite one, whenever it says in the English in your Gideon Bible in the hotel, whenever it says Lord, the Lord God, in the Hebrew it says word we don't know how to pronounce, Yud He Vav He, which some people tell us to pronounce Jehovah or Yahweh or your way or my way. But it literally, it means, it has no meaning because it means infinity. It means simultaneously was, is, will be, is. See, you can't put that into one word. Yud He Vav He. Yiyeh means will be, Hoveh means is, Haya means was, Hava means is this as a verb, not just is, but is this would be is. And Elohim is source of powers. Anyway, it's really good to learn the original language of people's traditions. Then it says, Vayomer Elohim, and Elohim, source of powers, said, Yehi or, there should be light. I like the way we were used to reading it. Let there be light. Come on. Nobody talks like that. Richard Burke. God said that there be light. It wasn't light. So here you have in the very beginning of the creation story that the very first thing that is manifested is a light. But what light is this? It's not the light again of the planets because they do not happen for another 3 cycles. So in the first cycle, the very beginning is light. So the mystical tradition tells us that... huh? Oh, there. What is that?
It's a board.
Really? Wow.
Oh, let there be board.
Oh.
Let there be chocolate.
Any favorite marker? My favorite marker, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway,
Give him a chair to stand on.
so mystical tradition teaches me, I don't know about you, that in the beginning there was nothing but what we call God, that infinity. And therefore there was no place to create. And the infinite one willed to create because wanted to relate. No one to relate to. So what did the infinite one do? The infinite one kind of contracted itself, kind of subjugated its infinite, overwhelming omnipresence to allow for there to be a little space within which to create nothing. See? And this is a little space right here. A little circle. So the rest is the infinite one, and then took a deep breath, pulled in a little bit, right? It's a little bit between the Fruit of the Looms. There's a little tiny space which is our vast, vast universe. Into this space is called Teheru. In Aramaic, we call this Teheru. Right. In Hebrew, for those of you who can't read English, Teheru. Teheru means a cleared space. Like we do like New Age stuff. Let's have a sharing and a clearing. Right? So let's have a clearing. So there was a clearing, a little tiny clearing created. Now, into this little tiny clearing, which was completely void of anything, that's the darkness and the chaos that's described, then the Creator says, there should be light. Meaning that all this which is light, all of infinity, all the infinite one, all of what we call God, is all light, right? So God now allows the light to spill in, to filter in to the Teheru. All this light, all this. It's sort of like the Kabbalists give us the example of going to the ocean, and you take a little stick and you make a little groove in the sand, and then the big ocean begins to spill into that little groove, right? So this is what happened here. So infinity began to spill into the finiteness. That was the initial light. When the light hit the Teheru, hit this place of voidness, it responded as a light is hitting a prism. Prism, not a prism. Prism. and splintered into a variety of manifestations, such as many things. Well, there's many different things. We'll just stick to our topic as best as we can. So now what happens is this. When the light comes into the Teheru, what contains it? So the Kabbalistic theory of the ancients is that the universe exploded, as it could not contain the light. Because if you're only receiving and you're incapable of giving, you will explode. You will shatter. You know, you take a vessel and you only pour into it and have no spout, it will implode, right? So the Big Bang was stolen from the ancient Kabbalists. They stole everything from us, because we cure with everything. Even with that theory. We cure with everything. So now the lights that big light that came in to the Teheru, into the void, the universal voidness, now the universe explodes, the lights are exploding everywhere because there's nothing to contain them. Now the Creator, on the fourth cycle, the Creator, it says, creates Me'ohot, illuminators. These are the planets, the sun, the stars. And then it says, Vayitain Osam Bo'okia. And the Infinite One, here we come to astrology. And the Infinite One took these little rocks that became the planets and the stars and placed them in the sky. Meaning, the teachings go, that each one is strategically placed in the sky. And then it says, in order to give light to the earth, and in order to establish cycles and seasons. To become as signs of cycles and signs of seasons. The Kabbalah, the mystical tradition, now comes and tells you a big secret. Don't tell anybody. Now, after I tell you this, you really can't take this from me. All the stars and the planets are the containers that contain this ever-expanding light, so that it no longer imploded the universe. All the stars and the planets were made, this is the old story, to contain the divine light, to hold it in, so that it no longer explodes and expands and goes on, but stays put and constricted enough to direct itself toward the little planet Earth and any other world, because in the Jewish mystical tradition, the teaching is that there are 18,000 universes, meaning worlds with everything, cars, cable. There's a lot of teachings, even the Talmud, which is the rationalistic, legalistic tradition, also talks about, they asked Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai in the first century before cable, is it possible that there are other beings on other stars? And he said, to say that it is not possible is to limit our infinite God. See? So these lights now nurture the world. So let's talk about our world. Forget about the other world. That's really for people down in Roswell. So, is that that mark in the back of my head? I think it's gone. Anyway, the planets and the stars contain, they're the containers of the light of the Infinite One as it came into the universe. They contain them in a way that they direct them to the earth, for example, those that are in our sight, nurturing our earth. Like you say, oh, the sun shines, it makes things grow. Why? Well, science has its reasons, and the mystical tradition has its reasons. But this is the divine light of creation. See? So when you look at the stars, and you see them in this light, it's a very powerful experience. Wow, these are the lights of the original primordial light that brought creation into its unfolding. Wow. Or, as some people put it, awesome. Awesome. Awesome, man. You know? It's a very powerful teaching. And now bringing it down to the Hebrew astrology, it goes like this. Since the stars and the planets and all that stuff, all the beings up there, they're called the Domim Shebashamayim, which means the still beings of the sky. They're still beings of the earth, that's the rocks and stuff like that, and some people that we know. And then there are the still beings of the sky. Right? In our world, we have Domen, Someach, Chaya, and Medaber. Nefesh, Medaber. These are the four beings of our planet. That means the still beings, that's the stone beings. And then you have the Someach, which is the sprouting beings, like grass and stuff like that. You have Chaya, which is the bald eagle and gnat, wildlife, deer. And then you have Nefesh Medaber, the talking animal, which is, I'm sorry, us. I mean, I experienced this flying back and forth. Everybody has, it's a cell phone. Okay, I'll be right there. Yeah, well, I'm in the airplane now. I'm trying to sleep. This guy's talking on the phone before we take off. You know, really loud, because, you know, we can't hear you. Yeah, okay. Well, let me tell you, don't tell anybody this, but... but it's really worse in Israel. Anybody who's ever been to Israel knows what I'm talking about. It's very bad there. Everybody has a cell phone. Even little children, newborns. Dying. Everybody has a cell phone. In the grave, they have like antennas. Unbelievable. There was a story in the Jerusalem Post of the woman walking around the bus, and she sees someone talking on their cell phone, and then she hears another person down there talking on their cell phone, and she realizes they're talking to each other and apologizing that they're going to be late for the meeting because they're in the bus, they're in the traffic. So she goes over and says, "Do you know you're talking to her?" Oh, no. Cell phone. Enjoy your stay. Hope you see each other. So each of the stars and the planets, have their thing. This is why, so the astrology in the Hebrew tradition is based on that verse in the book of Genesis, which says, "Vayitain osam ha'orot v'kiya shamayim," and the Creator placed. That means placed, not just threw them out there. Let's eat. Right? But strategically placed the stars, the still beings of the sky, the Domim Shebashamayim, in the sky in such a way that they reflect and deflect the primordial light of creation to the earth in very various ways. So as the earth is making its turn, by the way, in the ancient Jewish tradition, they believed the earth was round. But they were smart. They kept it a secret. They didn't want to get burned in the stake. It's flat! It's flat! It's flat! Don't worry about it. Very flat. It's like really flat. I mean, really flat. Very flat. So flat, I'm telling you, you're going to fall off the other side of the ice. It's called, in the Talmud, it's called the Kadua ha'olam, which means the ball of the earth. Ball of the earth. So, all the balls are reflecting to each other and sending the light down to the world. Now, let's say you was born, right, from a woman, which is still the case. There are changes happening a lot in science these days, we never know. So, you're born, and you're born at a certain hour of a certain day of the week, and a certain moon, under a certain moon, right? So the way the stars are positioned have been put in the sky during that cycle, when you were born, during that period, and the way the earth is turning, to receive the primordial light of creation from those stars in that given moment affect you like you were also a star or planet. See? Now Maimonides, who was a great rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Ibn Maimon, who lived in the 12th century, that's 1100s, very long time ago. He was the chief physician to the Sultan of Egypt, Saladin II, third. I'm sure Saladin knew. So Maimonides wrote this great big book. He wrote several books. One is called Guide to the Perplexed. And it's Jewish philosophy. It was the first and most major ancient, or middle-aged medieval book of Jewish philosophy. And he titled it just properly because that's how Jewish philosophy is, totally perplexing. So then he wrote another series of books called the Mishnah Torah, which is the first code of Jewish law we ever had. Because we never had a code of Jewish law. We were better off without it too. But he meant well. So in the very beginning, he talks about the stars and the beings. He begins with creation, the laws of creation, the laws of the universe. And he says every star, every planet has a soul. Just like we do. It's like all the creatures of the earth do. All the plants, he says, all the trees, well, that's old stuff. We know that from other teachings that we had earlier, that everything has a soul, everything has a spirit. All the trees, all the grasses, the Talmud teaches us, have a spirit that empowers it. And Maimonides adds to this and talks about the planets too. All these stars have soul. They're living beings. They're living beings by virtue of their reflecting, of their being containers of the divine light. They're alive. And therefore they influence, and as a spirit guide would influence our lives, depending on what day of the week it might be. Now the difference, see, a lot of people think that Judaism considers astrology taboo. Everything is taboo. It's mostly because studying about Judaism is taboo. So no one knows what it is. But it's because, see, we never had, and still don't have really any one way of doing anything. That's our problem. There'll always be a lot of different opinions about any given thing. So, yeah, you're right. You're also right. You're also right. Absolutely. You're both right. And I'm right. Let's get on with life. So, there is a teaching in Talmud like this. One should not put one's life in the hands of the stars. One should not be adhering to the readings of the astrologers. On the other hand, it says, on the very same page practically, it says, Kol sheyesh b'yado, l'dat, et ha'kochavim, one who has in their grasp the capability of grasping the stars, lo asa, and does not do so, alav alma hakatuv, upon them applies the verse in Isaiah, Maseh adai bazazu, the works of my hands have they abused. Because I created these things and you're not going to study them? Right? So then the disciples of a later generation, because the Talmud is a collection of many centuries of oral tradition, so then they discuss this astrology business and say, well, which is it? Are we not supposed to do this? Or are we supposed to do this? And why is it that the same teachers that taught us we shouldn't be dabbling in astrology were the very ones who, before setting out on a journey, were reported to say, well, let me take a look at the stars first. It looks good. Let me look at that side, right? Isn't there? Right? There are lots of stories in our tradition about the teachers who said, don't do astrology, who were doing astrology. And so the reconciliatory teaching, to put it all together for us, goes like this, which is a typical Jewish way of resolving things, which is the great important word called, it depends. For everything, all the laws in the Jewish tradition, it depends. Like the Code of Jewish Law says, this is the law, and then in the margin, however, so it depends. they meant, what the early teachers who were dabbling in astrology and said don't do it, meant was don't become obsessively dependent. Don't put your destiny into the hands of the stars so that you relinquish your free will. Because you too, like the stars, remember, are a planet revolving with them. You too have the power to, by your faith and by your determination, to alter what is the laws of the universe. And this is how this book, this old book here, begins. The very first Mishnah or paragraph says that the Creator created the universe with 3 spheres. That means circle within circle within circle. And the 3 spheres are, I would draw a picture of a circle a little later. The 3 spheres that have one sphere within the other are called the following. One is called Sefer. They all call, in Hebrew, very similar to that word. I mean, a lot of the ancient Greek words that we now have as English words, the Hebrews also adopted a lot of words. So, one sphere, the outer circle is called Sefer. The first inner circle is called Sephar. See, it's all Sephir, but with different vowels. And the innermost circle, the third circle, is called Sipur. See? So different vowels. Now, when you change the vowels on any given word in the Hebrew language, you change the entire meaning. Entire meaning. That's why our Torah, our scriptures, are not written with vowels. They were never recorded with vowels. To enable people of every generation to reinterpret the ancient tradition in a way that speaks to that generation, that paradigm. So here's what happens. So these 3 spheres they translate like this. Sefer, the outer sphere, means text. The next sphere is Sephar, which means number. Numerology. And the inner sphere is called Sipur, which means story. Story. Right? Now what does all this mean in English? It means like this. The outer sphere, which is text, means the laws of the universe. This is a text. Here it is. It's a book. It's written down, published. The author, when an autograph it. It's good as a book. I read it in a book. Right? It's all the time. It's got to be true. I read it in the book. You know what I read the other day, right? Text is very powerful. The written word is very dangerously powerful, which is why we always had an oral tradition that accompanied our written tradition. This was to prevent people from getting too caught up in the written. So we don't believe like eye for an eye means an eye for an eye. No one ever did that. It means, well, it depends whose eye it is. But it meant, it was interpreted by the oral tradition of the country. It means the value of an eye for an eye. Because what good is it, let's say a blind man pokes out my eye in a fight. So you're going to poke his eye out in return? That's great, thank you. It helps me a lot. And look at him, he's suffering terribly. You can see less than he saw before, right? And it's just totally ridiculous to even have thought that people took it literally. So they didn't. Rather, you poked out somebody's eye, you have to pay doctor bill. And you have to pay nezek, tsar, mipui, shevet, boshet. 5 things. It's not like today. You hurt somebody, you go to court, you might go to jail, the victim suffers. Gets nothing. Except bills from their lawyer. So in the ancient Hebrew tradition, if you injured somebody, you had to compensate them 5 ways. Nezek, tsar, mipui, shevet, boshet. Nezek means for the injury, tsar for the pain, just like a lawyer, Mipui for the healing, shevet for the money they lost by not being able to work, workers' compensation, right? And boshet, their shame. That they were ashamed, embarrassed in the middle of the mall because you gave them a punch in the teeth, right? So this is really because like 3,313-year-old teachings from Daddy Moses, All these things, really great stuff. Okay, back to astrology. Now, so you see what happens here. You have a sphere. We're living in a sphere that is text. These are the laws of nature. The stars right here, they mean there, you're born here, it's going to happen, and this means this is that, I have to do that all over the place. And rocks slide ahead, you can't find it, you can't beat it, don't try it. Laws of nature. It's going to come down right in your car. You get in your car, you turn the key, it doesn't go. Laws of nature, there's no gas. Or your battery terminal is dirty. I know a lot of you out here have not cleaned your battery terminal. I know some of you take a toothbrush and you go, it's not going to work. You really got to take it apart, clean it, or some baking soda. It really works. Baking soda works. And then put it back and then you can drive your car. Just telling you this. This is a very important thing in the Talmud also. This is the laws of nature. The gravity, right? Gravity, laws of nature. Right? That's the outer sphere. Everything is contained within the laws of the universe. Then you have the second sphere, which is number, which has lots to do with what evolved later as numerology. But originally, in the old book, it talks about number as process. It takes so many months for a baby to be born. It takes so many months for the flower to grow. It takes so many months for the head. It takes so many months. You know, your beard to grow. You know what I mean? Process, time, patience. It's not going to get there any faster by running to the front of the train, right? Process. You're stuck within the sphere of time, space, and matter, right? The innermost circle is called Sipur, which means story. Story is that part of you that transcends all of it. It is the choices you make in life that shift the unfolding of your story. Choices you make in life is what has written your story within these spheres or in spite of them sometimes. See? So the Talmud is teaching us, the very teachers who taught, who dabbled in astrology and taught people not to do astrology, who also taught that it is so important to not give your life over to the stars. And then look in the newspaper horoscope, oh, what's my thing today? Oh my God, what is my born Sagittarius? Oh, that's so good, I hate that guy. Oh God, I'm having a really rotten day today. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's happening already, I can feel it. What's this pain here? Oh my God, you know. Oh. Right, that's it. When the family says, see, it says right there in your paper. Right? You give your life to the stars, right? So, rather it means to do what we do with everything in life. Which means what? Which means being in a relationship with it. Right? Just like it says, it doesn't say obey your father or mother, it says honor your father. You know, be in relationship with. The big difference between obeying the stars and being in relationship with. When you're in relationship with, then they become your guide. When you surrender yourself to them, then there is no you. Then the first primordial question that the Creator in our story asked the first primordial human being is now echoing into your life saying, Ayaka, where are you? I made you. I gave you everything. You disappointed me. I don't want to put a contract on. So I want you to leave town. Don't come back. Yeah. See? Why did they call him the God Father? How the writer heard the voice of God. So I'm going to give you an example. For no further, you have a little introduction, you have some idea of millions of other things that we don't have time tonight to talk about. So what I will do now is kind of give you a little idea. Oh, one more thing. Very important introduction. Very short, too. You know, I hate people who do that. They say, oh, you know, I have one more thing to say, like an introduction. Oh, God, that's really... I didn't really do that to you. I didn't really do that. It's not on the start, it never happened. Let's rewind the tape. And finally, before I go into this, there's this very important concept called the seven planets. In the Judaic tradition, the ancient Jewish tradition, it's all in here again, right? It teaches us that of these many, many, many containers of the divine light that we call stars and planets, of these many, many beings, there are 7 specific beings that are very directly involved with the earth, that correspond in their power and attribute to what the ancient Kabbalists called the Sheva Chadrei Adamah, which means the 7 chambers of the earth. And there are meditations about that. Maybe we can talk about this one. Maybe we already did talk about that. Meditating, you look into the earth, you look face the earth, you go into the 7 different attributes of the earth. Eretz, Adamah, Basha, Arka, Gaia, and Yabasha. Did I say Yabasha?
No.
And the other one. Kara. So each of them means a compression. Anyway, that's a whole different subject. But there are 7 different names for the earth in the ancient tradition, and each one represents a different attribute of a different layer, sphere within the earth. And there are meditations that go into these chambers. So these powers, these forces within the earth are governed, so empowered, inspired by 7 specific sky beings. And they are as follows: Shapsai, Tzedek, Ma'adim. Oh, that's in English, that's Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars. Ma'adim, it literally means that which makes red. So there's Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, and there's Chama, Noga, which is, Chama is sun, the sun. Noga is Mercury. Kochab, which is Venus. And Levana, the white lady, the moon. So again, the 7 sky beings that directly, most potently affect us here in the earth are Saturn and Jupiter and Mars, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Moon. Therefore, I'll give you an example. Now we get into it, and I'll ask you to tell me, give me some of you who want to know things, I can tell you. I'll tell you the animal attributes, because each one goes, oh, there's so much to talk. We don't have time tonight for all this. Let's go home. Enough of this crap. You know, it's unbelievable. Bring me out here to talk to you for an hour and a half about something that takes 10 years. This wheel of 13 moons, each moon has an animal or another kind of earth attribute, like a tree. It has a mineral, like a stone emerald, a carbuncle, or and a garfinkel. And then you have an attribute such of emotion or sensation, like hearing, speech, vision. Then you have houses. Each one has a house, which means if you're born a certain month, you have the key to open up the house of death, of life, of children, of enmity, of love, of hate, whatever you want. And finally, it has a plant. So it has animal, mineral, plant, all kinds of things, and stones and stuff like that. And also a tribe. If you're born in a tribe in the month of Nisan, for example. Nisan is a car. It's also a moon. The moon it corresponds in the solar calendar to like late March or early April. You know, it really depends from year to year. That's why we have 13 months, so we can catch up with you guys. So every 3 to 4 years, we add a leap. It's called a leap year, where we add another month to the last month. The last month is called Adar. Adar means laughter. It's the moon of laughter. You know, we laugh all that month. Now, in the Jewish tradition, we begin the counting of the moons in the middle of the year. And we begin the beginning of the year in the 7th month. See, there's nothing clear about us. We're not a clear people. Really? Huh? It depends. Very good. So, and this is because the moon, the sun represents universality. The year, the whole. The moon represents parochial. So as a parochial, as a people, we began in the moon of Nisan coming out of Egypt. As a people, we were clans and tribes. Before then, we came out as a nation from Egypt in Nisan. Okay, so we started counting the moon. Hold on a thing. Let's start right away. Enough of this crap. Right away. Okay, here we go. Can I use the word enough? Is that all right?
Yeah.
So what I have here is a 200-year-old calendar, and all you have to do is tell me if you want to someone wants to experiment, so you can see what I'm talking about. You give me your birth date and the hour of your birth, and then I will tell you everything that you need to know until you go home. Yes.
I'll give you mine.
Go ahead.
November 14th,
What year?
1961.
Because I have to look at it and see what corresponds to in the lunar calendar. 1961 was a very good year. Nothing happened then. It was during the sexual revolution, the revolution I missed.
Maybe I was a product of it.
Busy being so devout, I missed the whole darn revolution. By the time I liberated myself and got there, it was gone. Everybody had gone home. Banners. Hello, darling, I'm ready. Hello, miss, hello. Lady, hello. There's everybody. Oh, please, wait. Oh, please. Once again? November 14, 1961? Okay, so you was born on a Tuesday, third day of the week back then. And that means you were born the 6th day of the moon of Kislev. The moon of Kislev. Now write that down. You were born the 6th day of the moon of Kislev. Now what in the world is the moon of Kislev about? So I put down this 200-year-old calendar, lunar calendar. And I see Kislev. Let's see now. I turn my wheel around. Where's my hat? I have a funny cone-shaped hat. Okay, Kislev. Let's see. Oh, that won't work. Kislev. Here we go. Kislev. Okay. Kislev means, literally, the moon, the name of the moon means a cup unto him. The attribute of the month is dream journey. The tribe that it corresponds to in our tribal ways is the tribe of Gad. And Gad's totem was a lioness.
Gad?
Yeah. Gad. Egad. No. So Jacob and his four ladies that lived with him, they had 12 boys and a girl. One of the boys' name was Gad. Gad. So Gad's totem was lion. And the meaning in the Jewish tradition of the lioness, as opposed to the lion, is power in action. Now the lion is about power. A lot of you ladies know men like that. Hi, honey, you got a lot of power. Oh, good. Can you fix the roof today? Well, maybe not today. Tomorrow, possible. Right? The lioness is like the one that goes out and does all the shopping, all the hunting. You watch the Discovery Channel. The stone is the amethyst. The amethyst is the stone for that moon. And the power of the amethyst is protection in battle. It's a stone that our people wore in war. And the herb that goes with that moon is costus. Now, I don't know what that is in English, but kishet. Kshet, which means, is translated in the English dictionary as costus. So you can go to the herb store and say, can I have some costus, please? And a little amethyst. On the side. The house that you have the keys to is the Bet HaDrachim, the house of the pathways. And that means that, that you have the key deep within you to opening up good choices of which path to take, standing at the crossroads. Your challenge in life is about pathways. This way, maybe that way. And then finally, your...
You mean like I could have gone to a bar tonight?
That's right. You came here. But it's no big deal because the bars are open late tonight. The letter in the Hebrew alphabet that corresponds to that mood is sama. Sama means a prop, like something to lean on. So that means that you have in your constitution, the letters represents the constitution of what comprises us. So the letter sama means that you have within you a lot of power to offer support. And challenges to call for the power now and then to receive support. It's about support. And finally, what is it? And then your direction, tribe of Gad, in the journey through the desert, tribe of Gad, because the way the tribes were situated deliberately. If you look at the book of Bamidbar, the book of the wilderness, or in Gideon's Bible, it's called the book of Numbers. Okay, fine. And the Hebrew says the book of wilderness, Bamidbar. So in the book of the wilderness, it talks about how Moses aligns the tribes around the ark of the covenant. You know, that Raiders of the Lost Ark thing, the big box. So each tribe was positioned very differently according to the position of the stars. And the tribe of Gad is in the northeast. North is a place of mystery. East is a place of new beginnings. That means that new beginnings come your way, but sometimes they have no idea where the heck they're going to come from. And there's even a chant for your moment, which is, hey, yo, hey.
Hey, yo, hey.
Hey, yo, hey.
Hey, yo, hey. Okay, I got it.
Inside, in the circle, you have chants of the infinity name of God, which is yo, hey, wa, hey, right? Which the Indians stole from us. Yo, hey, wa, hey. Right? It's like Hebrew chant. I first, heard a Native American chant, in New Mexico. I got up and said, all right, where'd you get that? Anybody else want to try? Oh, all right. Let's go to the back there and hand up first. And then we'll get to all of you except the following. When were you born?
April 7th, 1955.
That's what they all say. What?
April 7th,
19 what?
55.
1955. April 7th. Okay, here we go. April. Here is April. Here's 7. You were born on a Thursday. You were born on the 4th day of the week. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot one more thing. I'm sorry. I'll be right there, okay? Really, I just have to pee. Be right back. No, just kidding. I don't have to pee yet. But I will soon. I'm sorry. Back to you, okay? What's your name?
Susie.
Susie. Let's see. Susie. Just kidding. Okay. What day? That was on Tuesday, was it? Okay. What hour of the day?
4 o'clock.
Okay, that's the 5th hour. In the evening?
Yeah.
Morning. Okay, so if you were born on a Tuesday, the 5th hour, I'm going to tell you about which planet. Okay, 5th hour, I forgot about that part, I'm so sorry. Okay, 5th hour. So you're the sky being that was with you as you came into the world, as your soul manifested itself in the world, according to the chart, is the moon. And the attribute of the moon is balance and moderation. Balance and moderation. Balance.
Waning and what?
Waiting away. Oh, yeah, now we go to you,
That's
sir.
why
I'm
you're
so
here.
sorry. Where's that book? I took my book. That's right. Oh, here it is. Okay, so you were born April what?
7.
Yeah, I got 1955, right?
Yes.
April 7, you're born on a Thursday, so remind me to do your day and hour. I'll forget. Okay. Okay, you were born on the first day of Passover. You were born on the 15th day, which is a full moon, in the moon of Nisan. Do you own a Nisan, sir? Okay? In the year 5715, the Hebrew calendar. I didn't tell you what year you were. Where did I? Susie. You were 1961. You were born in the year, what was that, November? You were
November.
5722 was the year you were born in the Hebrew calendar. And you were born in the year 5715, a long time ago. In the year 5715. Now, so remember what day? It was a Thursday, right? Okay, it was a Nisan. Let's go to Nisan. Where's the chart? Okay, Nisan. Here we go. Nisan. Nisan. Wow, here we are. Nisan. Nisan literally means miracle. Miracle. Nis, and the word nes. Nes means miracle. Miracle. The attribute of the moon of Nisan is speech, talk, communication. And the tribe that corresponds to Nisan is the tribe of Reuben. He was the first guy in the tribe of Reuben. Reuben, which means, behold, a boy. And the totem of Reuben was water. Reuben was water. And Maya, which also means mother of life. So, and water means like otherworldliness. Otherworldliness, power of water. Right? You can't live in the water. You can snorkel, but you can't live in the water. It's another world. You don't belong there. Stop going to the beach. Who are you kidding? You know you can't stand that salt in your eyes. You know, cut it out already. Unbelievable people. And then the stone of that month is the ruby. And or shoham. And then I'm sorry, this has nothing to do with you, but the power of the ruby is it prevents miscarriage. So if you're a man, that would mean that it has the power to prevent something that you're trying to bring to fruition from getting screwed up in the process. So the ruby is a good stone for you to have. You know, everybody in your room, you know, you carry a stone with you on your necklace. Tell your boyfriend or girlfriend to buy you one. And then send me the bill. The herb for that mood is balsam. Balsam is a very powerful herb, very powerful herb whose oils was used in ancient times. The Talmud speaks about the balsam being something you use to bring someone out of meditation. So in the first century after ACDC, when Rabbi Nefunya ben Akona was stuck in a meditation, they couldn't get him out. So they went to Rabbi Akiva, and he said, you take a twig of a myrtle plant, and you wrap wool from a living sheep around it, and then you dip it in balsam, and you touch him on the thigh. They went, they did that, he still didn't come back. He went back to the rabbi, it was a guaranteed thing, you got money. And the rabbi said, if that doesn't work, this will work. Take this whole thing with the balsam, now go to a woman who's having her period, and ask her for some blood. They went, they did, they found a woman, they put that in the paper, the independent, take a woman with blood. And the woman gave it the blood, they put it on the wool, they had the balsam on the stick, and the green grass grew all around. And they touched him on the thigh, and he said, whoa! Very, very powerful stuff, ladies. Careful. What do you do with those tampons? Leave them lying around. Okay? And the letter for your moon is the letter Hey. Hey, which means window. That there's a blessing, a gift of window in your life, meaning perception, perspective, visioning. And then your house, to which you were given the key, is the house of Chaim, lives, life, a house of life. Gotta really, 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 really be alive in the world. Right? So everybody see this guy later. Okay, now the day, right? Thursday, did I say?
Yes.
Okay, Thursday. On what day did Thursday fall on? What hour?
6:20 in the evening.
Okay, that's the 7th hour on Thursday. 7th hour on Thursday, the planet, the being, the sky being that was around there, the 7th hour was Saturn. Saturn, which whose attribute is aliveness, which corresponds to the moon, and indestructibility. So gnarly the sky of this Clark Kent. Indestructibility, invulnerable, and stuff like that. Anybody else? Okay, all right, well, everybody, don't worry, we'll get to you, okay, Marlene, and then we'll get to all of you all at once. We'll all do it at once, have a big chart. Okay, don't worry, we'll get to you, be careful. Yes? Huh?
March 21, 1955.
1955, we did 1955, anybody else different year? March what?
March 21.
March 21, you were born on a Monday. Monday. Okay, you were born on the 27th day of the moon of Adar, the moon of laughter. That makes sense. Moon of laughter. Okay, so you were born on the 27th day of the moon of laughter in the year 5715. Okay, so now what happens? Because see, the year, if you're born in November, because September, the new year begins in a different time of the year. Okay. 5715. Now, what month was you born? Adar. Okay, Adar, a chart. Okay, Adar, a chart. Let's see, here it is, Adar. There it was, here it is, Adar. Adar literally means, like we said, laughter. It also means mantle of glory in Aramaic. It's like a cloak of glory. And then what else to say about it? It says your laughter, we did that. Okay, the tribe that you are, your thing is Benjamin, which means son of rightness. And the totem of Benjamin was the, the wolf. The wolf. The attribute of the wolf in our tradition is loyalty and individuality. Loyalty to community, family, and yet separateness and individuality. It's an incredible teaching about dance, about both, being in a relationship and also being your separate self. Being with community and being separate from. And your stone is jasper. And the attribute of jasper is it calms the blood flow and slows down the speech. Slowly, gently, because otherwise you can't say anything because you're laughing all the time. Your herb is cinnamon. Which goes really good with spaghetti. So that right here. And your house is the house of enmity, opposition. Now, okay, take it easy, folks. Which means the teachers taught us that you have the key to enmity, which means one who has the key to something is one who can grasp the mystery of it and therefore heal it. Therefore grasp it, therefore hold it. So anybody who has any problems with other people, see Marlene. Your letter, we can skip that. Okay, if you don't want to, you don't have to do the letter. You really want the letter? You sure?
Okay, you can tell me later.
Okay. I'll give you a hint, okay? Oh my God, I'm on television. The monkey. Monkey is your animal. Monkey, the attribute of monkey in the ancient Hebrew tradition is jovialness and, how do you say it in English? It's kind of,
To clown.
huh?
To clown.
To clown, thank you. Thank you. To clown around. To jest, clown around, just to be silly all around. Okay, and your chant is, hey, hey, why yo? Hey, hey, why yo? Your chant. Did I tell you your chant? Oh, what moon were you? I forgot.
Nissan.
Kislev. Your chant is, whoa, yo, hey, hey. Whoa, yo, hey, hey. That's Kislev. That wasn't you, though. Nissan, I'm sorry. Nissan. All right. Well, that wasn't even Kislev. We're not looking at it. Okay, I have to get really centered now. Nissan. Okay. Really carefully. Whoa. You have it in the order. Like yud, hey, wah, hey. Yo, hey, wah, hey. Like the way it's written. So like all the chants of the moons are yud, hey, wah, hey, the yo, ho, wah, Yahweh, your way, my way, in different juxtaposition.
Yeah.
It's a magical thing of, never mind, it's a long story. So you have the real McCoy. These other people have Sony stuff. Okay, what day of the week? Was it Monday, was it? Yeah, okay. At what hour?
8:41 a.m.
Huh?
8:41.
Okay, 9th hour in the morning. 9th hour in the morning, and Monday is Mars. Mars. Mars is your being in the sky, whose attribute is passion and blood and wisdom. Next, we go down the row and then we go row. Yes?
January 28, 1969.
Okay, 1969 goes like this. Are you ready for 1969? I'm going to do this real fast now. I won't get anything wrong. I am one of the fastest Jewish astrologers alive. Very fast.
So fast Mars, please.
You're right, tomorrow is much faster. June what?
January 28.
Oh, yes. Okay, January 28, 1969 was a Tuesday, and that's the 9th day of the moon of Tevet in the year 5729. So the moon of Tevet, where's my chart? Okay, Tevet is right over here. Is that a box? Oh. Tevet literally means in good condition. And the attribute of Tevet is roges, which means anger toward things that are wrong. Like an actress, like Ralph Nader or something. The tribe is Asher. Asher means happiness. Bless you. Thanks. You're welcome.